Good morning again. It's Sunday and we're off to another start. And today I want to work on this. So I'm going to tilt this up a little bit so it's not so far away from me. Let's see how I can figure this out here. I'm going to lengthen this leg and make it a little bit straighter. Kind of wish I could bring these down, but I don't think that's going to happen. Yeah, we're fine. Let me check my photo to see if you guys are still seeing it. Oh, and you're not. And we got to go over here a little bit. And it looks like we're still going strong. And let's see if we're showing up on the computer. Okay. I believe this is the right one. Okay. Yes. So now I got to turn this volume off on my computer so we don't end up with the same. So now I got to turn this volume off on my computer so we don't need an echo. End up with the same. There we go. Sorry guys, I'm not a professional at this, as you can probably tell. So I have to do things a little bit different. I'm just hoping. Okay. So today I'm hoping to work on this. Yeah. All right. And make these clouds a little bit more interesting now, right? I don't want them to overtake everything. I also want to bring some of this color down in here a little bit more. Create this little light path. Don't know what I'm going to get to, how far we'll get, but we're going to work on it. So today what I need is some oranges and yellows and blues. So we'll start with my blue, because I got to break up this thing too. Need to make that a little bit more interesting. So I'm adding some of my phthalo blue. And I'm going to add some white. So I really don't want it to be too dark. It's got to match the other blue that's out there. First color down, and I've already got it all over my fingers. Okay, and my cad red medium. Oh, this is a cad red light. No, I want the cad red medium. Where is it? Maybe I didn't use it. I don't see it in there. Let's go over here. Yeah, it's the light. And then my yellow. And I'm going to use the medium. Cad yellow medium. It's a little bit brighter than the light version. And since I'm working on the clouds that are closer to us, I want those colors to be pretty bright. All right? Then I'm going to go back to my little trusty angle brush. I cannot remember what it's called. I'm too long out of the business here. I just pick stuff I like. Okay, let me do a little mixing. I'm going to take my yellow, put it right there. Add a touch of the blue, not the blue, wake up Sandy. Touch of the red. and go for some orange. Alright, there's my basic color. This is what I want to do first though. Let me get rid of this and get this area the way I'm hoping it'll look. So for that, I need the blue. And I need the white. And to get that shade of blue, I added a touch of brown to it. And it greens it up just a hair. And gives it that kind of cool look. Not quite there yet. Let me add a little more brown. And yeah, it's not quite matching. Closer to that one than this one. That means I probably need a little bit of white. I wonder what would happen if I added the light yellow to it. It might get me there. That's one of the issues when you're mixing your own colors. You gotta make sure you mix enough to be able to use it all the way through your painting. Or you can do the Robert Warren trick and write down what you do. He does it because he teaches classes. But it's a good way to remember it in case you ever want to do it again. Like months and years from your original time frame, you would be able to reproduce it exactly. Okay, let's see. Now that's better. That's, yeah, so now it's lighter than that. Pretty darn close right there. So, we're going to just throw that in here like that. I'm going to bring that all the way over in here. And I can adjust this as I need to. Darken it, lighten it, whatever. Pull a little bit like that. Let's just break this into this area here. That already looks better to me. I want to get a little bit of blue in here. Break up this orange a little bit. It's kind of, at this point now, I'm just dry brushing what's left of the brush on here. And it just breaks up the clouds a little bit, right? So that they're not quite a big solid mass. I like that much better. This needs to get just a hair darker. I'm going to put a tiny bit of paint on my brush and I'm going to wipe it on my towel. So once again, it's a dry brush area here. And we just mix it up a little bit. I know I discussed turning that into rock, and I think I probably will, because the more I look at it, the more it drives me nuts. So, just kind of create some flexibility in here. In fact, let me do it right now while I'm thinking about it. I'm going to take some dark umber. And I'm going to build this rock right here. I mean, I have to take that out just a little bit. And let's push this. Just a hair. It's almost like it's going into the crevice. A little bit stronger. More solid. There we go. Problem is this part here is deeper than that part, so. Okay. Now what I have to do is make it work together. I'm going to take a little bit of orange, throw some of that in here. Where's the pitch dark stuff? It's almost dry. Now we need some of the lighter gold right here. Where'd you put it, Sandy? Looks like it might have already dried. I have to make some more. So, oh, maybe that's the pile. Okay, get the blue off. Yeah, I gotta make some more. So we take burnt umber and yellow. Start blending. It's a very pretty color. Okay. Go dark over here. Right now it's one big color. Drives me nuts, but let's let it sit there for a minute while I work things out. Because now I want to bring blue in here to separate these colors because they're too similar. I can't bring the yellow up there, it's too far away. So we're going to have to put in sky. And it's a medium blue sky. We'll just bring that up in like this. Break this up just a hair so it's not quite so obvious what I'm doing. Let's make it look like it's just a broken cloud. Okay, a little bit of darker blue because it's just a little bit too bright right there. That would have been easier if I waited until the paint dried. But I'm just not in the mood to wait. I want to make that look like I intended that to be. All right, back to the other brush. And bring in some dark right here. A little bit bigger. And go dark, 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 dark. Okay. Now I can bring in some highlight. Go with the yellow, this one, on top. So the problem is the highlights and the clouds are almost the same color. So I have to make sure I can separate them. And let that rock shine. A little bit of light right there and there. Okay, that's making sense. Now right here should be sky. So I need to take a little brush and a little paint. And I have to go very light because what's underneath there is wet. I'm just going to tap that, clean that up a little bit. If you brush hard when you're doing wet over wet, you're going to pick up the other paint and blend it in, and you don't want to do that normally. So you just barely touch it, and if you don't want to have really sharp lines, you just kind of go over it several times, blend it in a little bit. And I can see that there's a little bit duller blue right there, so let's dull this down. I just tapped it into some brown paint that's actually on my paper towel. And that's canvas stuff going through, so let me clean that up too. We don't want that. That needs to be, what it is, it's texture. And every now and then it just kind of says, no, I want to show up. All right, I can live with this. I want to get something going here. So, where's my one for the dark? Let's take this little crevice here. I have paint on the brush to do this, Sandy. And let's kind of create a little something that goes right through this ridge. So even though I'm having to go over some texture, I'm trying to cut it through, make it look like, there we go. All right. Now we can grab some of this and put like a little plateau up there. It's almost like it's another little ridge up there right behind this one, which we can make that happen, right? Okay. Now we're bringing this one back forward again a little bit. Sorry, I know I meant to just stick with the clouds, but I get distracted because there's something bugs the heck out of me. I think I'm going to bring this over actually and make this ridge part of that, and that'll join it all together and make it make more sense here. Let's do this. Okay, now I'll take a little bit of the light, put that right in here. It's far at the back, so I don't really want too much detail there. Maybe just poke a hair. Just a poke. It's like it's behind it now. A little bit orange there. Touch of yellow. A little bit bright. We'll dull that down a little bit. We can dull it down with some white and that'll push it back. All right. Let's leave it alone for now. Get rid of this towel. Get me a new one. Yeah, we're going to really strengthen this ridge now, and that'll push that into another rock. All right, so what do I want to do with these clouds? I've cleaned that up. I like that much better. Let's give it some shape. Right now, they're just like little flat little tubes, right? So I need to go to this slightly bigger brush. Wipe out some of the paint. And let's start with the orange. I'm not going to mess with this stuff. We're going to just start building it here and up in here. Round it out just a little bit. They are going to be pretty flat. I don't know what type of cloud that is. I don't remember the names of clouds. So I'm going to take some red and hit the tops. Put some red in intermittently here. And get these a little bit more lumpy. This is going to end up in front of this one. I already made my mind up that this is going to be a major cloud here. And then this one. At the top edge of the canvas here. We'll add some brown to that to deepen that. Yes, I know it's weird to add brown, but the burnt umber is a good color to put in there. Burnt sienna is a good color to put in there. And you just put a tiny bit just so it dulls it down. Right? You still want it to be reddish, but it's farther away. Well, not really farther away, but it's farther away from the light, basically, is what I'm saying. Right, so you dull it down. You don't want it super bright. Take a little sienna right in here. All this stuff on the edge here. Just gotta pull that in. Okay. Go back to my roots. A little red in here. Pull that up a little. All of these are kind of doing one of these numbers right here, right? So let's break this up with some color. Wiping it really good. Okay, this up here is going to get the deeper yellow. It's away from the light. It's next to us. This sky is closer to us than this sky, right? So this is where you put the less blended colors, a little bit more direct. I'm wiping my brush off before I go into the new paint, by the way. Otherwise, I'd be getting a lot of orange into my yellow, which is not a good idea. I'm just going to dab some color here and there and everywhere. And I'm starting to like it already better. It just looks like it's got a lot more dimension now. And this is a little bit less. See, this is directly above, so it's getting lighter there than here, right? So this is not going to be quite as bright over here. This can be pretty bright right there. All right, I'm gonna wipe my brush. This is where if you have a blender brush, it comes in very handy. Or if you have a very soft touch, which I do, that comes in very handy. So I'm gonna use the same brush, which is a medium soft brush. And I'm gonna hold my brush way back here. And I'm just gonna tap, and I'm pulling down like this a little bit to pull those oranges into the yellows. But I don't want them to be evenly, I don't want a line per se. And I'm trying not to touch the top edge, right? And if I end up covering up too much of this yellow, which I feel like I am, I can always go in and add more yellow. Now fade that out, fade it out. Wipe off your brush, move to the next layer. I don't think I even added any yellow in this one. I might have to go back and do that. And I'm pulling very lightly so it kind of just vanishes, right? You don't want to have an abrupt edge to your cloud. No, I've got to make sure I turn this way. I'm going to pull this in a little bit and pull that in a little bit. And just, I don't want those yellows to disappear. Push that out a little bit. I don't mind if that runs off the canvas. I like having all these little mini highlights in there already. I might have to get a little bit more orange in there. I'll just blend them first, and then I'll take a quick look and see where we need to do some additional work. Oh, arm's getting tired. Canvas is too high. I wonder. Let me loosen this. Come on. And then loosen these. No, that's this one. Yeah, I gotta loosen this one. Put that down here. And loosen this one. Come on. That looks pretty good. Let me see if my picture's still okay. Should be. Now I'm not reaching over my head quite so much. It probably won't hurt my arm quite that much. I'm going to pull this up, all right? Because this is kind of, I want these lights to go into the reds instead of the other way around. I like that a lot. That's pretty cool. Just push that. I do like that a lot. All right. Happy, happy. Okay. Maybe not so much. I am still going up, but I'm, just doing little soft things. Just little softenings. And I'm going to have to stop, back up, take a look at it, see if I like it, see where I want to add more lights and more darks. Put a few wispies down in here. This is just with a dry brush of paint that I picked up from up here. Just so you don't have these sharp lines on your clouds. Take the bottom edge and just tap them. Right? Just tap them. Unless you want a sharp edge. The clouds generally don't have sharp edges. They're pretty soft material. Let me back up. Now see how it's starting to look more interesting. I think I want to get some blue up here, but I might have to wait till it dries. Otherwise it's going to just kind of be weirdo. But this is just too straight for me. I'm not good. I think I tapped my... I'm not good with straight lines. Or my computer's way slow. Maybe I should look back here and see what we got going. That might be a little bit better. Hey Cheryl, I see you on there. They're not showing up on my computer, which is what I'm looking at just yet. I don't understand why the chat, oh there it is. Cheryl and Ben and Dan, thanks for joining me. I had to move my computer screen. If you have questions, leave them, ask them, and I will get to you when I'm done. Yeah, see this little bit here? I kind of want to make that blue. But I'll wait till it dries. I'll wait till it dries. Now let's get some of this color coming down here. All right, let's create our little light stream here. It's kind of going in here. It's going all over this, right? But then as it gets to here, it pretty much needs to stay in this area. So I'm not going to wipe all the paint off my brush. I'm just hitting it with the towel. I don't care if I get a little bit in here because that's what we want, actually. We want a little variation in the blues. So we're going to take a little bit of yellow, and I'm doing just a tiny bit of paint on the brush. almost like a dry brush. And I'm gonna, here's primarily, and you know, I could actually brighten this spot right there to show where the sun's the brightest. Just leave that there. And I want to do a little bit right like this. Kind of coming straight in here. You just kind of get a little bit wider and wider as you go down. Gotta leave that. Not gonna hit that part, but it will hit as it gets away. All right? Can hit right in here a little bit. Wipe it off. Blend it in here. Very light touch, very light touch. I'm just blending, 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 blending. All right? And I will be coming back in with some blues as well. A little bit. Oh. Okay. Now we got that. Now let's do just a touch of orange. I want to do a little bit of the yellowish orange. Find some that's wet. Wiping it off on the, and just a few bits and pieces. All right, to reflect the orange in the sky. When you put in your colors, make sure you bounce them around. I mean, water gets its color from the sky. You run your tap water, it's not got color in it, right? So how do we get that blue and yellow and green? Because it's bouncing off the sky. So let it bounce off the sky. Bring those colors down. Generally speaking, they're going to be slight tint darker than what you see in the sky. But don't be afraid to put them in your water. I shouldn't have put that there probably. In fact, I think I might just brown that back out and make it look like a little underwater rock sitting there. Where's my, just a touch of umber coming off of here. Just a touch. Like just a little shelf. Same with this piece right there. Just a little shelf. We get, sometimes get this kind of stuff, don't we? Yeah. Yep, I like that. And we'll run some streaks of water up there. Okay. And back off and look at it. All right. Now I'm going to start coming in with my blues again. Let's start with a deeper blue, straight blue. And just put in a few streaks here and there, especially right here. All right? And it creates a beautiful color in there. Some of these really pretty blues coming in here. Just throw some of this blue on this little watery shelf. Makes it look a little bit more like it's underwater. Once we get the whites and stuff in there, that'll look really cool. Okay, I don't want too much over here. I want it more on this side in the shade. Leave that light over there. Get a little bit darker right here underneath these little water ridges. Under the water ridges. Everything just gets exaggerated just a little bit more every time you do it. And eventually you have something that looks very, very cool. You just got to be patient and not try and finish it the first time out. The more you do this, the more interesting things look. I don't want you. You can overdo it. So always back up and take a quick look once in a while. Back up and take a quick look. See what's going on here. All right. Right in here. Okay, we're going to go with a little bit of light blue in here. I don't want to lose the yellows because that's my reflections. I just want to lighten the water a little bit because it is in the light source. I'm almost going over the darker blue a little bit with it. Just blend in a little in. And I'll exaggerate this stuff in here a little bit more. This is too bluey now. In fact, I'm going to wipe that down with a towel a little bit. I've got that too much. Little flat area there. Need to get some other colors in there. So it's underneath this little ridge rock, so we're going to add some dark. Even though it's in the light, we've got shadow under the rock. I'm going to add a little bit of yellow. Green that up a titch. Match it with what else is there. Let's see. That's bugging me. We have that. I have to figure out how I'm going to make that work, unless I just bring this over. I might just bring that over. And then create the ridge underneath it. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. When you back up and look, you're going to see stuff that drives you nuts. So be prepared for that. Where's my yellow ochre? So we're going to do this and let that be lighter. That's this forward ridge here. And this one maybe. Leave that back there. Come on, Sandy, grab some paint. Sometimes I have to do it like 4 times before the paint actually gets on my brush because I'm so worried about picking up too much. All right, I want some umber. That's what I want. All right, now we can get into some dark right here, and let's push that into the dark. So we're going to go right there and just really make it really, really dark. Okay, I like that. Need to have some real dark right here. So we're separating this. All right, now we're talking, and then this I can lighten back up. And we'll go with Wipe that off and blend it in. Need some orange. It's a little bit too yellow. Blend that in. All right, back up, take a look. Okay, we're gonna let it dry. Then we're gonna come, well, I wonder if I should do a little white while it's wet. Maybe I should. Now we're gonna mix a little bit of off-white for the shadows. And then we'll start putting in some water. Some water foam. Okay, I need to get some paint off my brush, so I'm going to take my linseed, dip it in the linseed, and wipe it on the towel. Just clean a lot of it off of here. Don't know how much of this brush I'll use, but if I don't use it, it's already clean. Once I do this at the end of my session, I get as much off as I can, then I go and I wash it with soap and water, let it dry. I don't use paint thinners for this kind of stuff. I don't use it with my paint either. I don't mix it in with my linseed as a medium. I just use straight linseed. I used to. That's how I was taught. Linseed and turp. Now they have a fake turp, but don't do it anymore. I decided that it doesn't need it. I am liking the clouds a lot better. I'll give it some time. One of the things too, when you think you're done with a painting, put it away for a week, start something else, then go back and look at it and see if you're really done. Because chances are you're probably not. You probably have one more or two more layers that you actually need to get in there. My next painting, you're gonna freak out. It's one that I actually started a year and a half ago. It was the Aurora Borealis, and I thought I had it done. And then I looked at it and decided I did not like the Borealis. So I darkened it. Let me swing my camera around, I'll show you. Let's see if I can make it show up. It might be a little bit too close. But here it is, and this is a giant canvas. That light that you see is a reflection of my ceiling light, so don't think that that's what it is. There's no moon in there. But that is what I'm going to be working on next, trying to put that Borealis in the way I want it. I want it more dynamic. So we're going to try. I've never done it. Other than the one I didn't like. I ended up having to paint black all over it, and I just put a thin layer of black. Some of that stuff is still showing up. But it's going to be a challenge. And it's going to take me a little while to do it, probably figure it out. But I started looking at pictures of the Borealis, and I thought, I don't like what I've got. When I don't like what I got, I tend to go back in and play with it. It can't hurt anything. So, but that will be the next project that you see me working on. In the meantime, this is starting to look pretty good. I'm pretty happy with this one. And see, the light to dark is working pretty good. Now, let's take a little white And I'm going to take some of my sky color, add white to it. I don't want to use it all in case I need to get back at my sky. So I'm just going to take some of it and dull the white down a little bit. You probably won't even notice that it's not white until I get white on top of it. But that's another thing. Don't think that your white water is all pure white. Just like everything else, it's got shadows going through it, right? And if it's in the shadow, it's not going to really reflect as bright as, just play with this, as white water that's in the light. So, make sure that your white water is true to the area in which you see it. If I were to use pure white right in here, it would glare so bad. I actually want this to be pretty subtle. I don't want it to just blast away at everything. I'm just trying, again, it's adding dimension. It doesn't have to be super big, right? Now what I can do, because this is off white, now watch what I do here. I'm going to take some pure white and I'm going to dab right here. Right here, right here. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but you have what looks like heavier foam in one area because I did the lighter in another. Let me get the camera in closer. See if you can see that. I think you can, but that just kind of gives you an idea of why you want to do that. It allows you to add dimension even to your white water. So if you're painting waves, even if they're in the sun, part of that stuff's going to be in shadow, especially the stuff that hangs down like this. That's going to be in shadow. So just give it a little chance to have a little dimension. Now this all in here should be the darker color, right? I'm wiping off my brush and I'm just going to use a dry brush. I don't want too much in. You can get some on your rock as well, right? Again, the water splashes, so don't be afraid to do that. Splash some up onto your rock. Try and go in like a rounded motion when you're up on your rock so that it creates a kind of a rounded splash. And we're just going to add some in here. This is going to be a duller one. Just dry brushing that across there so it looks like splashing. So this is technically on the rock. And all this is going to get white water coming across it and everything too. Brush that in. Let me push this down for a second, see if anybody else is on there that I need to. Thank you, Ben. Pay attention to. Thank you, Cheryl. We are and playing and playing. Just play. One of the things I love about oil, I can just wipe it off if I don't like it, or paint over it if it's dry. Right? You don't have to worry about it. I will later on probably do some real linseed white water. By that I mean I'll thin it really out and I'll just run some water trails like across here. Maybe even across here, because this is a rock as well. Depends on whether I'm anxious to get going on the Aurora Borealis or not. But technically that's what I should do to finish it off. It needs I dab that, soften that down a little bit. Alrighty. This is still the off-white. You might be thinking I'm using pure white, but I'm not. This is off-white. Even in the highlighted areas, I'm going to start with off-white, and then I can add white highlights to it. I'm just trying to make my white water as interesting as the rest of this. You don't want it to overtake your whole painting either. Come in here, I'm going to get a little bit of a some trails there. A little bit of splashing. Little bit of splashing. There we go. Get some highlight going. Fill it in with these nice soft little areas. Maybe a little trail going down in here. Separates these two a little bit more. Now if I want this to be a sharp edge, I have to come back later on and make a sharp edge. And then the water will not be going up on it, right? Because it's in front. Same with this. This wants to be a sharp edge. I'll come in later and put a real sharp edge right there so that the water is not going up on it. That will also make it pop forward a little bit. In the meantime, that's what I said, you think you're done and you're not. There's always a little bit something else you could do to it. I've sold paintings that I thought were not done, but the viewer did, and they liked it the way they were. So that's another thing you have to remember: when to let go, when to get rid of it, when to let somebody else tell you, okay, I like this. That was a little ridge right here, so I'm kind of using it. As a pulley. Oh, I make pictures off again. Sorry, guys. Let's put that over here. Every time I move that camera, we have to rearrange everything. Okay, so water's going to be pushing here into these little baby rocks, and we'll do a little bit of edging here. Bring this down like this. And this is going to end up being a sharp edge, so I don't want too much there. Just create a little bit of white water. Nice soft little rustle. I like that. That turned out real nice. Oh, I went the wrong way. I am so sorry, guys. One of these days I'll have a professional setup that won't move. I'll have a zoom, and we'll be able to look at everything. But for now, we just have to deal with what we got. Okay, for some reason I have a little splash down here. So let's get a little splash on it. Working, working, working. Get that paintbrush working. Yeah, I don't know why I took a break from this. This is so much fun. Of course, I'm kind of itching to get that in the resin too, so we'll see. That's my problem. I want to do it all. I can't seem to concentrate on just one thing and really become an expert at it. Okay, I'm going to create this very fine little ridge here. And I'm going to pull back. This is actually, I'm probably doing this backwards. I should be doing it this way. Let that drop right there. That's kind of cool. Let's just let that drop right there. Maybe a tiny bit more. There's my little waterfall that I just made. Right there. I'm going to pull this back. This is where having a really bad brush would help because it would separate the bristles. Let me try that. Let me try and push these out. Grab some paint. And see if I can create. Oh, it's way too much paint. Way too much paint. I need a baby brush for a second. Let me get your shadow color. See if I can get some little ripple coming through here. I might have to come back with some more of the browns and the blues and clear up where I want that all that stuff to be. What I'm trying to do is make the water come in here and bounce a little bit and then start trickling. So I'm going to have to get some of the browns back in. A little of the darker blues. So I can create some of these trails. Watch what happens. I'm going to dry brush this for a second. All right, and I'm going to, dang it, need some paint. Dry brush it. We're creating some water areas. Where the water gets to run down off the rock. But I don't want the water all over the rock. I want it where I want it. That's what I want. I want it where I want it. Where it makes sense for it to be. Like in here. I'd have to play with that a couple times here. And maybe with a smaller brush. Let me get some of this super dark now. Let's go in here. All right, now let's get some pure color going. There should be some pure color in here in certain places where the water just literally flowed away from it. Now I'll go with, grab a little yellow, tap it off. Okay, back to some dark. By the way, I'm experimenting here. It's not like I know what I'm doing. I know what the results I'm trying to get. And it's coming close. Not quite there yet. But we're getting there. So I just keep dabbing and dabbing until I get what I'm looking for. We're looking for the brown to show up through the water. All right? So let the brown show up through the water. Okay. I'm liking that. Where's Here's my little pointy brush. Let's try this one. Back to the off-white. And this is out in the light. I could actually go for the pure white, and I might later on for final highlighting. But for now, we're going to do the off-white. A little bit of off-white, little bit of off-white. Just keep playing and playing and playing. Run a trail here and there. Let your trails fade out. Don't let them end abruptly, okay? Unless you're splashing into something else. Make sure they fade out. They just kind of disappear on you. And this is basically the same kind of thing that you do when you're doing crashing waves. You know, you just have these little water trails that go. And they can make a huge difference to the painting. It's just that little added detail that so many people tend to forget to do that really helps a painting look done. Okay, I gotta. You don't have to do it all at once. In fact, I'm probably going to be stopping here pretty quick. I'm starting to feel like I need a break here. But as long as I'm in this mood and I've got the paints already going, I really wanted to finish this type of work here. I may decide later on that I don't like it and wipe it all out. Who knows? I want to break this up a little bit. There. So we'll just see. We'll just see. So far, I think I'm liking this. Just these little added details. Yeah, I'm liking that. That's kind of neat. Without having too big of a splash, we're just kind of creating a water runoff. Using the ridging as a guide for where the water would be. Later on I can actually come back in and put in a very thin brownish wash here to fade this down if I decide it's too bright, which I might because I'm using, it's pretty bright, and that would actually make it look like the rock is playing a part in it. So we'll see. I'm starting to get hungry. I haven't had breakfast yet. I might go down to the breakfast buffet because I just don't feel like cooking anything now. I'm beyond that point here. Somebody doing something outside. I don't know what. I don't even know what time it is anymore. Yeah, it's starting to work for me. I hope, oh my God, I am so sorry, guys. I think I'm turning this thing the wrong way every time I do it. Alrighty, let me see what's going on. Oh, that's interesting. My computer doesn't show who's watching. It only shows who comments. I wonder how I can see who's watching so I can say hi to them. Because I don't see you on the phone because it's behind me, sort of. And brush that's break that up a little. It's awful harsh. Here. That's a little harsh there too. That's in the shadow, so, you know, I feel like it glares at me right here. All right. Just kind of dulls it down. Okay, guys, I am going to call it quits. I could sit here for another hour just right here. And that's not fun for you to watch anyway. So, recap it. We reworked the clouds a little bit, and I'm liking them better. Probably will do a little bit more to them. Reworked this a little bit. I'm not happy with that. It's like, I have to keep working on that. Something just doesn't feel right to me. Maybe it's because the edges are too soft. That might be. And I can sharpen them up, and that might make a big difference. And then I need to continue with the water and stuff going all the way out. And a few highlights, few lowlights, and we're getting closer. Maybe 2 more sessions, and then we get to go start working on the Aurora Borealis. I might even do some in between, do something here, and then while it dries, work on that. Because that's going to take a while as well. So if you're interested in that, tune in once in a while just to see the progress. In the meantime, have a great Sunday. I'm going to get something to eat. I am hungry. And we will hopefully see you on camera. I will be back on tomorrow for sure. I don't even have to go anywhere tomorrow. Might get on there twice, depends on how early I do it. And we will see how it goes. I might pick one time for this one and one time for the Borealis. And just start going back and forth because I'm itching to get hold of that thing. And that's a huge canvas. It's a 3x4 canvas, I think. Maybe 3x5. It's going to take a while. But they're going to be having a UFO function here soon. Towards the end of the year, I think October, she said. So I've got a few spacey things that I need to do. And I think I could get away with this, especially if I just stuck a little UFO off in the distance. I don't think I will, though. I'll probably just leave it as the Aurora Borealis. Although I could put the spaceship in for the function and turn around and take it back out. Which would be kind of funny. And go from there. But thanks for coming. And we will talk to you later. Bye.